Did I miss? Not. The top map was supplied by the USGS and indicates significant seismographic activities worldwide during the time frame in question. The bottom map was supplied by Mr. Eclipse, Fred Espenik, and his team at NASA's Goddard Space Labs, if I remember correctly. On the bottom map, you may see that NASA's team indicated gravitational peaks during the eclipse, indicated by stars, if you will, in the predicted path of said eclipse. The red arrows point to where indeed there was a significant increase in seismographic activities along those exact gravitational torque points, just as I predicted there would be. The bottom picture with the circle in it is something I made for my son James III to explain to him that it would be the first area hit and be hit hard like Haiti, Rita, and Hurricane Katrina. I call it the whip of the dragon's tail as the force of the eclipse enters directly into our little world. If you research it, you would find that there was a megaquake over 8 point in the area about 30 days before the eclipse, and as you may see by following the red arrows to the USGS map above, there were several significant earthquakes in the area as the force from the whip of the dragon's tail entered our world. And, just as I predicted, Siam, the Korean Peninsula, and Japan, right over Tokyo in particular, were nailed with a variety of activities ranging from foul water weather resulting in some horrendous water-based accidents to problems in the air resulting in at least one Russian plane going down and a spike in significant earthquake activities. Once again, just north of Tokyo in particular, then off to the Aleutians as well. Right on target. Still on target, from the Aleutians to the Gorda Plates faults to the inland southwest United States. Storms bringing down small aircraft in particular along the way. Yeah, from the southwest inland across Oklahoma and Texas, as the force from the whip of the dragon's tail remains on path for a final torque away from our little world, just as I predicted, places like Puerto Rico were totally nailed too. Mr. Eclipse, Fred Espenik, and his team at NASA did the work. I just follow their little pinheads and star on the eclipse path maps to identify the celestial torque points on Earth. That's how I'm able to hit every time so far in advance. Even Bill Steele's magic buttons, the Mendocino faults, Gorda Plate faults. By the end of May 2012, the Ring of Fire was lighting up just as I predicted, right on time. The events were delayed, yet augmented as they were overlapped by yet a second eclipse, also as predicted. So by June 10th, Asia, Alaska, they were really lighting up, as was the Gorda Plate faults, California, in the inland southwest of America. All right on time. But as I also predicted, thanks to the full moon, by June 12th, megaquakes started popping up worldwide. As you can see by this map alone, massive quakes just started popping up, firing up that ring of fire like nobody's business following that full moon or during that full moon. Despite the rhetoric from guys like Bill Steele at the University of Washington, they don't happen every day. As you can see in the difference in the two maps from earlier, 2 days later, look at the Aleutians now. Totally lit up. Ditto for Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, all of it. California got massively hotter. As you can see by this map, Vancouver Island, right off the island, just like I said it would, southern tip, off of the coast of Oregon as well. They were all lighting up. Windows in time. What a difference a day makes. They don't happen every day. They happen in windows in time. And boy does it suck when I'm right. As you can see there was an eye to this storm. It was the Pacific Northwest, Seattle in particular. And as I always say, some idiot usually goes off in this period of time. Sadly, in this case, I was so sorry for being right, because the supposed idiot was my little brother. It's that spike in violence that all law enforcement looks for with the full moon, and in this window, in this particular time, the violence in Seattle totally spiked, right on schedule. This is the second to last image taken of one of my little brothers, Ian. It was a window of time I'd predicted would see a spike in violence, an idiot or two going off in a public place or on his or her family in slaughter mode. A night or two before, a man was murdered driving his family home from the airport where he had just picked up his parents. He lived in the Madrona section of Seattle. It's a nice section of town that you almost have to go through gangbanging country to get to. He was driving through a shootout and got hit by a stray bullet. The violence had begun. Then came the news reports and this picture all over the TV. The Aurora, Colorado rampage was next, and also in the pair of overlapping windows I had predicted. Mind you, both also on the edges of the Celestial Pass too, also as predicted. Ian was a good kid. He had a mom, a grandma, brother, sisters, dad, a family. Like my own son James III, he grew up to be a little bit bigger than his dad, yet looked a lot like him, and eventually became part of our United States military. Ian was not an idiot. Ian was a deep thinker, all of his childhood. Certainly since I knew him, Ian was always a deep thinker, very bright. Physically orientated, Ian climbed Mount Rainier, for example, several times with his grandpa, and here he is passed down as a kid after rafting. Ian was so into personal, physical discipline that he actually put himself through one of those camps for ill-disciplined kids, that whole physical rigmarole over in Idaho. Ian was the oldest of the kids, and as he grew up, he seemed to get along pretty good with his dad. And because he was a doer and an achiever, he had a laid-back side to him, a side of confidence, where he could kick back and relax, you know what I mean? Ian was actually pretty peaceful. A sociable guy that thought a lot about his friends, too. Sure, he had some lanky moments growing up. And once he grew up, he got into that body art as well. He was real proud of that artwork, as he should be. A physical overachiever, he couldn't help but swim that lake, because it was there. When you burn that kind of energy, you can't help but have a mellow side too. Even do a little partying with your friends. He's always a deep thinker though, not an idiot. Like most young adults, he finally got a license. He even learned that it was okay to shave as he got older. He loved being under that big tree, the biggest tree he could find. Ian was disciplined, but transformed over the years. And he had lost tolerance for disrespect. So although he carried his firearms to protect himself as he walked through gang-banging country, which is throughout Seattle, Ian himself finally went off. I don't know what triggered him, but before the day was over, he would murder 7 people and then go find the biggest tree that he could. And he killed himself. From the deaths and destruction of the Western Asian quakes, the ships going down throughout the Eastern Pacific and Indian Ocean, the Russian plane that went down to Tokyo, north of Tokyo, Alaska, the window in time, it sucks knowing years in advance. It's not a gift per se, it's a curse. It sucks knowing. Postscript. Ian was not my blood brother, but he was a brother. I know you can dig it. Through divine guidance, I published the Acts of Providence, TAP, then sent TAP to former President George W. Bush on July 27, 2007. Our White House signed for TAP on August 3, 2007. I also tried to turn President Obama, even Charlie Rose, and Vice President Biden onto TAP, too. President Obama even wrote back after my third direct try to contact him. I even ran for governor to help advance TAP, but was silenced. See on page 618 of the PDF or page 630 of the hard copy of TAP, originally signed for by our White House once again on August 3, 2007, I warned of a hurricane buildup starting on August 22nd, 2012, with a likely landfall on October 29th, 2012. Did I hit? Ask the eastern seaboard of the United States, particularly Manhattan. On the next page of TAP, I further warned of natural disasters centered around Asia, and I hear at least 7,000 people died during natural disasters in that region during the window in time I predicted. And, so far, I'm hitting with predictions to friends for 2013. Predictions ranging from an early outbreak of tornado season, which really nailed Oklahoma from what I heard, to the most recent heat wave, all within very specific windows in time.